Original post. Title: I moved to Boston with dreams of Harvard Med, fell for a guy, and now I'm a college dropout facing my angry parents. He destroyed everything. So picture this. Me, Sarah, 18F at the time, now 20F. Fresh out of high school, valedictorian, full scholarship to a prestigious pre-med program at a well-known university in Boston. Not Harvard, but a damn good one. Let's call it Boston Central University, BCU. My whole life had been geared towards this. Late nights studying, extracurriculars up the wazoo, the whole 9 yards. My parents were over the moon. I was going to be a doctor. I was their doctor to be. The pressure was immense, but I thought I thrived on it. Boston. Man, it felt like the center of the universe. The history, the Charles River, the brick buildings, the energy of thousands of students just like me, all chasing big dreams. I got a dorm room, a meticulously planned schedule, and a brand new set of highlighters. I was ready. The first semester was a blur, but a good blur. I was acing my intro bio and chem classes, making friends in my study groups, even finding time to explore the city a little. I felt independent, capable, like I was finally becoming the person I was always meant to be. Then about 2 months in, I met Liam, 22 Main then. It was at this little independent coffee shop near campus I'd started frequenting. He was a barista there, but also a musician, played guitar in a local band. He had that effortlessly cool vibe, dark, messy hair, a couple of tattoos, a smirk that could melt glaciers. He remembered my order after the second time, a ridiculously complicated latte, I'll admit. We started chatting, light stuff at first, music, Boston, how insane BCU's workload was. He was charming, like dangerously charming. He made me laugh. He seemed genuinely interested in my pre-med grind, calling me Doc teasingly. He asked me out for a drink after his shift. I'd never really dated much in high school, too busy studying. So this felt huge. Our first date was amazing. We went to this dive bar that had live music. His band wasn't playing, but he knew everyone. He introduced me around, made me feel included. He talked about his music with such passion. I was captivated. He was so different from the pre-med guys I knew who only talked about MCAT scores and research papers. Liam was a life, unfiltered, a little raw, exciting. We started seeing each other regularly, and quickly, regularly became constantly. He'd text me good morning, meet me between classes, wait for me after my late night lab sessions. It was intoxicating. I felt seen, adored. He'd write little snippets of songs about me. I'd study at his slightly messy, incense-filled apartment off campus while he practiced guitar. It felt like something out of a movie. The first cracks, so tiny I barely registered them, started to appear towards the end of that first semester. I had a huge organic chemistry midterm coming up. I was stressed, trying to cram. Liam wanted to go to a friend's art show. Come on, Sarah, live a little. You're always studying. One night won't kill your grades. I hesitated. Liam, this is a really important exam. And I'm important too, right? Don't you want to spend time with me? He had this puppy dog look. I caved. The art show was fine, but I was anxious the whole time, thinking about unread chapters. I did okay on the midterm, not my usual A+, but a solid B. See, Liam said, told you. Spring semester started, and things with Liam intensified. He was practically living in my dorm room, or I was always at his place. My carefully planned schedule, out the window, study groups, I started skipping them. Liam will be waiting, I'd tell myself, or he'd text, come over, I miss you, and the pull was irresistible. He wasn't overtly demanding, not at first, it was more subtle. If I said I had to study, he'd look a little hurt, sigh, oh, okay, guess I'll just hang out by myself then. The guilt would eat at me. So, I'd close my textbook, just for a little while, I'd promise myself. Little whiles turned into whole evenings. My grades started to slip. Noticeably, I bombed a physics quiz. My bio professor, who'd praised my work first semester, pulled me aside. Sarah, is everything all right? Your participation has dropped, and your last assignment wasn't up to your usual standard. I mumbled something about feeling a bit overwhelmed. I didn't mention Liam. How could I? He was my world. This amazing guy who loved me. Surely, I was the problem. I just needed to manage my time better. But Liam didn't make it easy. He didn't like my pre-med friends. They're so uptight, he'd say. All they talk about is school. You're more fun than that. So I saw less of them. He wasn't a big fan of me talking to my parents either. They put too much pressure on you, he'd comment after I got off a call with my mom, who was by then starting to ask pointed questions about my grades based on midterm reports. He started to need more reassurance, more of my time. If I was out with a friend, a rare occasion by then, he'd text constantly, "Where are you? Who are you with? When are you coming back?" If I didn't reply immediately, he'd get moody, accuse me of not caring. One time, I was late meeting him because my lab ran over. He gave me the silent treatment for hours, then blew up, saying I clearly prioritized school over him, that maybe we weren't right for each other if I couldn't make him a priority. I ended up apologizing, crying, promising I'd do better. The end of my freshman year was a disaster. I scraped by with SATs and even a D in physics. My GPA, once stellar, was now dangerously close to the minimum required for my scholarship. I was devastated, ashamed. Liam was surprisingly unbothered. "Hey, grades aren't everything, Sarah. You're smart, you'll figure it out. At least now you'll have more time for us this summer." Us. That was the focus. Summer was a haze. I stayed in Boston to retake physics and get a job. I did neither, effectively. I spent most of it with Liam. He was between bands, focusing on songwriting, which mostly meant hanging out, going to cheap shows, and living off my dwindling savings and the money my parents sent for summer session. I lied to my parents constantly, told them classes were going great, that I was working at the university library. The guilt was a constant dull ache. Sophomore year, I told myself this was it, a fresh start. I had to get back on track. But Liam was even more entrenched in my life. He'd started to subtly belittle my ambitions. "Being a doctor, it's such a long, boring grind, Sarah. Are you sure that's what you want? You are so creative. Maybe you should explore something else." He'd say it so casually, like he was just looking out for me. But it chipped away at my resolve. Maybe he was right. Maybe I wasn't cut out for this. The missed classes became more frequent. The ignored assignments piled up. I'd wake up in his bed with a jolt of panic at 11 a.m., having slept through a crucial lecture. He'd just pull me closer. "Relax, babe. It's just one class." He started having band practice at my dorm, now an off-campus apartment I shared, though my roommate was rarely there, probably avoiding us. It was loud, disruptive. I couldn't study. If I complained, I was the buzzkill. The academic warnings turned into probation notices. I was terrified. I tried to talk to Liam, "Liam, I'm going to lose my scholarship. I might get kicked out." He got defensive. "Are you blaming me? I've been nothing but supportive. Maybe you're just not trying hard enough. Or maybe this pre-med thing just isn't for you. It's okay to admit that, Sarah." Gaslighting a 101, I see it now. But then, I just felt more confused. More like a failure. The breaking point came during spring semester of sophomore year. I had a meeting with my academic advisor. She laid it out cold. I was failing multiple core classes. My GPA was in the toilet. I was almost certainly going to be academically dismissed at the end of the semester. There were no more chances. I walked out of her office in a daze. The world tilted. All those years of work, my parents' pride, my own dreams, shattering. I went to find Liam. He was at his favorite bar, day drinking with some new bandmates. I told him, my voice shaking. He shrugged. "Well, shit, babe. That sucks. But hey, look on the bright side. Now you'll have way more time to hang out. Maybe even go on tour with us when we make it big." He grinned, like he'd offered a brilliant solution. No sympathy, no concern. Just something inside me just snapped. The rose-colored glasses didn't just crack, they fucking exploded. "Are you serious?" I whispered. "My life is falling apart. The future I've worked for since I was a kid is gone. And all you can say is, cool, more time for us? He looked annoyed. God, Sarah, don't be so dramatic. It's just school. You can always go back. Or do something else. Stop making everything such a big deal. That was it. The spell was broken. I saw him clearly for the first time. Selfish, immature, a parasite who had latched onto me and drained my ambition, my drive, my future, all while convincing me it was love. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just turned around and walked out. He called after me. Sarah? Hey, where are you going? Don't be like this. I kept walking. The next few weeks were hell. I had to officially withdraw from VCU before they kicked me out. I had to call my parents. That was the hardest phone call of my life. My mom cried. My dad was quiet, which was worse. The disappointment in his voice. It still haunts me. They told me to come home, so here I am, back in my childhood bedroom. The future doctor paraphernalia my mom had so proudly displayed is now tucked away in a box. I'm working a dead-end job at the local mall. Liam has tried calling, texting. I blocked him on everything. I'm 20 years old, a college dropout, a massive disappointment to my family, and a shell of the ambitious girl who moved to Boston with stars in her eyes. He didn't just break my heart, he sabotaged my entire life. And the worst part, I chose him over everything. Again and again, until there was nothing left. How do I even begin to pick up the pieces? TLDR, moved to Boston for a prestigious pre-med program full of ambition, met a charming musician, fell hard, slowly he consumed my life. I prioritized him over my studies, my friends, my dreams. 2 years later, I'm a college dropout, back home, dreams shattered. He couldn't have cared less. Update 1. Hey Reddit, it's Sarah. A few of you DM'd me after my last post, sharing similar stories or just words of encouragement. Thank you. It meant more than you know, especially when I felt so utterly alone. So, 3 months. What's changed? Well, I'm still at home, still working at the mall. Kill me now. The initial shock and raw agony have faded into this persistent, dull ache of regret and shame. My relationship with my parents is strained. My mom tries to be understanding, but sometimes I see the disappointment flash in her eyes. My dad barely speaks to me about the Boston situation, which is almost worse than yelling. Liam, he actually tried to find me through mutual acquaintances from Boston. Sent some rambling email about how he misses his muse and how his new band is really taking off. I checked, they played one open mic night. I deleted it without replying. The thought of him still makes my stomach clench, but it's more anger now than heartbreak. Good, I guess. The glimmer I mentioned. I started therapy. My mom suggested it, probably out of desperation. It's hard. Talking about how I willingly threw away my future for a guy who clearly didn't give a damn about me is humiliating, but my therapist is good. She's helping me unpack the why I was so susceptible to his charm, why I ignored so many red flags, why I equated his possessiveness with love. We're talking about codependency, self-esteem, or lack thereof. Turns out, that thriving on pressure thing I mentioned, maybe it was more about a desperate need for external validation. I also enrolled in a couple of classes at the local community college. Basic stuff, online, just to see if I can even do school anymore, if my brain hasn't completely atrophied. It's terrifying. Every assignment feels like a monumental task. But I submitted my first essay last week. Got a B. It's not an A from BCU, but it's something, a tiny, tiny step. I still don't know what my future holds. The doctor dream feels dead, or at least in a very deep coma. Maybe Liam was right about one thing. Maybe it wasn't truly my dream, but my parents' dream for me. I don't know. I'm too numb to figure that out yet. For now, it's one therapy session, one community college assignment, one day at a time. Still a long way from okay. TLDR, still home, relationship with parents tense. Started therapy to unpack my colossal screw-up. Took a couple of community college classes. Liam is still a self-absorbed loser. No big revelations, just trying to put one foot in front of the other. Update 2. Hey Reddit, Sarah again. It's been a year since I first spilled my guts here. A lot has happened, and yet, some things feel stubbornly the same. The biggest news: I moved out of my parents' house. About 4 months ago, I couldn't stand the suffocating atmosphere anymore. The unspoken disappointment. I saved up every penny from that soul-crushing mall job and got a tiny studio apartment in a different city, much smaller than Boston, but with a decent university that has a good psychology program. Yes, psychology. After months of therapy and a lot of painful self-reflection, I realized that while medicine might have been a path, my real interest lies in understanding why people do what they do. Probably no coincidence there. I'm enrolled full-time. It's hard, really hard. I have massive anxiety every time I walk into a lecture hall, flashbacks to BCU, to Liam, to that feeling of impending doom. My GPA is okay, mostly B's, a couple of A's. I'm working part-time at a bookstore to make ends meet. It's a grind. My relationship with my parents is better now that there's some distance. We talk on the phone. They're cautiously optimistic about my new path, though I know they still mourn the doctor I was supposed to be. Liam? He's a ghost. A bad memory. I heard through the grapevine he knocked someone up and is now trying to make it as a stay-at-home influencer dad while his girlfriend works 2 jobs. Serves him right, I guess, though I try not to dwell on it. Revenge fantasies are unproductive, or so my therapist says. Am I healed? God, no. Not even close. I still have nightmares about failing exams, about Liam's dismissive smirk. I'm incredibly wary of relationships. The idea of trusting someone like that again terrifies me. I have a few casual friends here, but I keep everyone at arm's length. But I'm functioning. I'm going to class. I'm paying my bills. I'm not letting one manipulative asshole completely define the rest of my life. Some days that feels like a monumental victory. Boston still feels like a raw wound. I don't think I could ever go back. Not even to visit. Too many ghosts. Too many reminders of the bright, naive girl I was, and how easily her world was shattered. Maybe one day I'll be able to forgive myself for the choices I made. For now, I'm just trying to build something new from the wreckage. It's slow, painstaking work, but it's mine. TLDR, a year later, moved to a new city, new university, studying psychology, still struggling with anxiety and trust issues from the disastrous Boston relationship. Parents are more supportive. Liam is irrelevant, not healed, but surviving and slowly rebuilding.